What's up, everybody? It's My Reviews Are One again with an actually special review for a change. We're taking a look at the iPod Touch 2nd generation just for fun, since we're waiting on the new 5th gen iPod to come out rather soon. Well, I thought it would be fun to take a look back at history and see just how far we've come. And that vibrating sound was not a phone, but in fact a Galaxy player. Anyway, you can check out my recent stuff using it on my channel, but there is no review yet. You'll just have to wait for that. Anyway, here's the iPod Touch, and, let's go ahead and take it out of the box. I just put that in there just so you could see that I still have the box and everything. Here is the iPod Touch, and it was in this little tray, and you just took it out like that. So now let's get to the story of this iPod Touch real quick and how I came to get one. So at the time I was, I'd say 10 or 11. Actually I was 10. And I saw a lot of people at the time with this really cool phone. And it was the iPhone 3GS, the newest, the greatest, the most amazing phone. And I didn't know anything really about an iPod Touch, but I knew that I wanted one. I wanted one really bad. And I wanted one so much that I asked for my birthday. I wanted the 8GB iPod Touch. And it was the 2nd gen, 8GB iPod Touch. So as you can know, I have had this for quite a while, and about 4 or 5 years now I've had this iPod. And I believe, I was 10 when I asked for it, so I believe it was my 11th birthday that I actually got this iPod Touch. And ever since then, I have become quite the Apple fan. And when I first got it, I didn't know much of anything about it, and was rather expecting a camera. Was I disappointed that there was no camera? Absolutely not. I was just happy to be holding a piece of awesomeness. And at the time, this was the newest, the greatest, and the latest. And as you can see when we get into it, it's very slow and very basic as of right now. And I will say some stuff as we get into the review. But we are running 4.2.1 on this iPod, and as you can see, it's, quite the thick iPod, and at the time it was the thinnest thing ever, and definitely the coolest MP3 player I'd ever had. And I had never had a touchscreen device in my life, so to start out with a touchscreen iPod was fantastic. I mean, I'd never used resistive touchscreens before, so I just jumped right in and started using this amazing thing with capacitive touch, and it wasn't until after I got that iPod Touch that I actually got interested in knockoff iPods and stuff. So anyway, I got this iPod Touch, and I still have it, and I do actually use it quite a bit. And here it is with the basic iOS background thing there on the lock screen, and you'll see that it has some very, very basic functionalities. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. On the lock screen, as you can see, it stayed true to exactly what it is right now. I mean, here it is, a 4th gen iPod, and when this came out, I just ran to the stores and picked one up. I picked up the 8GB version again, and I'll get into some explanation on that later, but as you can see, the lock screen and all has stayed the same, the whole time through, so it's basically the same, except this one has the full slider still, instead of half a slider. And there it is. So, as you can see, it is black back there. And the reason being, there was no backgrounds there. You never can set a background here. It's not possible. But the things you could do with this, at the time it was just amazing what I could do with this, piece of technology that I was holding in my hand. And I immediately got into doing some stuff and playing some games with it. And at first I wasn't big into stuff like Angry Birds or anything like that. Or did I have Facebook? And now most of the stuff that I have on here is not even compatible with iPod right now. For example, that Facebook, that is just Facebook on the internet. The Facebook app is no longer compatible with this iPod. So let's go ahead and take a look around. So obviously, it still has music capabilities. And boy, are they cool. When I first got this, I got into using the music there for a while, and the coolest thing was, I remember this, I was so fascinated by using cover flow, and I just loved the cover flow stuff that you could do with all the cover flow features. They were just great. And they had a built-in speaker. Now, I know the first generation did not, and I didn't even know the first-gen iPod existed at the time. But as you can see, that has a fairly good speaker. Now, it's nowhere near as good as the fourth-generation iPod speaker, but as you can see, it has a fairly good speaker, and you could just touch it and get some controls up there. And I had a couple of movies on here at the time, and as of right now, I don't believe I have any. I do not. I do have movies on my Nano and stuff, so I can put movies on here again if I feel like it. But I was also fascinated with the microphone. And when I first got this, I tried to use the microphone and realized that there was no built-in mic. And I tried everything and took it to the Apple Store. I said, "Hey guys, I plugged in a microphone to this, and it didn't work. It still didn't work." And the thing is that you had to have the Apple mic. But I was plugging in a professional microphone to this, and it would not record my voice. So, I just couldn't figure that out. Now, there was never any multitasking, but you could double tap the home button, and it would take you right into your iPod, which I thought was awesome. It would take you directly to the iPod setting, and you could get all your music on your iPod just by double-clicking the home button. But there was no multitasking. So, like the Pandora app, you could listen to Pandora and do nothing else. If you wanted to surf Safari, you had to listen to your own music, which I didn't download from iTunes at the time. I had, barely any music. But I got this, and I enjoyed the games, and I enjoyed the internet access on it the most. Now, as for photos, I don't have any photos on here anymore. But you can take screenshots of anything in your iPod, and then you can jump into your photos. And you'll notice that you now have saved photos, and they are all your screenshots that you've taken. So there's a screenshot. And the different apps have changed quite a bit. I'll delete that. Anyway, some of the stuff you could do has stayed true, though, such as being able to play games on this iPod. But the internet, that's what we'll talk about. The internet is quite laggy. I still use the internet on here, and I still do use this iPod quite a bit. It's just, it lags sometimes in comparison to the fourth generation iPod. So let's look up something very special like green beans. No, I can't get sued for green beans. Green beans. Let's do green bean casserole. There we go. That's very important. So, as you can see there, the internet is slow. And that's in nowadays standards. It just had this little checkered board, and you'd have to wait a second. Big whoop. It was on a small screen, and it was in your hands, and you could take it anywhere you wanted to. Excuse me, I have a little cold. But the other cool thing is when you open an app, and then you close the app, it would stay right where you were in that app. So if you open up Safari, it stays right where you were. If you're at the bottom of Safari, you close it, go do something else, and come back to Safari, you're still right there looking at your green bean casserole, which was something that no other MP3 player ever did. Especially surf the internet in a good way. So this iPod, it changed it a lot. The second generation iPod Touch was quite different. And, like I said, it was the first touchscreen MP3 player I'd ever owned. And the first iPod I ever owned as well. So, I'd never owned another iPod before this one. And I still have some of my original stuff on here. Really, that's the only thing on originally that was on here. But I do have some games on here and stuff, and I have, kind of expanded my collection. But this Zippo was on here for a long time, the lighter, and anyway, there is no built-in microphone, and that was annoying as well. And I have never run anything lower than iOS 3 or something like that, or at the time iPhone OS. But as you can see, the accelerometer is a bit slow. The fourth gen just picks up on your turns so quickly, and some of the games like Temple Run just lag a little on this iPod Touch. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what we look like today. So here's a 4th gen iPod Touch, and as you can see, we have come so far in just 2 years. I mean, look at this. We've got backgrounds up here. We've got a drop-down notification center. We have no notifications on the old one. We have camera. That's something that was never thought of, back then. Nobody's iPod had a camera, never mind the front-facing one. And now we can surf the internet incredibly fast. Oops, that's not the internet on this one. We can surf the internet incredibly fast. I mean, there's no lag in the loading of the pages here. And, the other one, it took a second. See, as you can see there's practically no lag. As long as you've got internet connection, you can scroll all the way to the bottom of this, and there's barely any lag and no more checkered board. It's just white if it doesn't catch up with you that fast. But, it's very fast, and we have multitasking now, so we can do a couple of things at once. We can be listening to Pandora or something like that and enjoy it. But we definitely couldn't have got there without this iPod. And, this is a very important iPod to me. I wanted this for a long time, and I was just so happy to get this iPod. And I'm very happy that I still have it. And, it's in original, pristine condition. As far as the stupid chrome scratching on the back. But, as you can see, that's quite a good iPod there. So that is the retro review of the iPod Touch 2nd generation. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And stay tuned for some reviews on the Galaxy Player. And hopefully an iPod Touch 5 review pretty soon. But I will not be getting another 8 gig. As I was saying, I was going to tell you about this later in the video. Anyway, this iPod held up quite well at just 8 gigs. It never ran out of space, and it still doesn't run out of space. I can put, everything on this iPod and not run out of space. Well, with this iPod, I take a lot of pictures. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons. But I take so many pictures that 8 gigs just ran out instantly. I'm out of space already on this iPod Touch, and I've had it for, a year. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This is My Reviews Are One, signing out.